I don't understand. I don't understand. And if I'm not mistaken, I would think that everyone in the wrestling community was thinking the same exact thing, or saying the same exact statement after Sunday night. I don't understand how a company could be so clueless. I don't understand how a company could be so illogical. I don't understand how a company can make the same exact mistakes over and over and over again for years now. Years. And continuously do the same thing over and over and over again and learn absolutely nothing. Nothing. And if BattleGround wasn't a prime example of that, I really don't know what to tell you. And I did not want to do this video. I really didn't. I was thinking to myself for 5 days now whether I should do this video or not. Because I didn't want to come here and look like a no-life complaining idiot to the people on YouTube. But this show, this is not about a picture-perfect goody-two-shoes image. This is about reviewing wrestling. This is about reviewing wrestling shows and giving you guys the news, rumors, and reports for any of the shows. I could sit here in this wooden, worn-out chair and drink this bottle of Nestle Pure Life water for 25 minutes, and it will be better than 80% of what we witnessed at BattleGround. I could turn the lights out and plug in this rotating disco ball, which I bought in an arcade down in Long Beach Island 6 years ago, and do a petty Triple H-like entrance. And it will be better than most of the show on Sunday. What happened? What the hell happened to the SmackDown Live of old? What happened to the SmackDown Live that put on those fantastic pay-per-views like Backlash and TLC and Elimination Chamber? What happened? It's almost like at the snap of fingers that SmackDown Live pulled a disappearing act and has yet to return. And I was there. For those of you, unless you've been living under a rock, unless you haven't been watching me, I've been telling you that I've been going to BattleGround for 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. And I was actually told, because I got really good seats. I got seats right by the entranceway. I was actually told by a guy that worked in the Wells Fargo Center that Vince McMahon was backstage. No wonder the pay-per-view sucked. There was about four highlights to my night, 2 of which were not even part of the show. Number 1, I had more fun eating a 14-inch slice of Philadelphia pizza that took 2 paper plates and coffee cup holders in order to carry around than I did most of the show. Second was the fact that before the show, I got there 3 hours before the show. I drove 2 hours to watch that crappy show, and I got there 3 hours before the show started. I had more fun walking around. I had more fun walking around the parking lot, tailgating, and talking and taking pictures with complete strangers whom I've had no affiliation with prior to the event. I had more fun fantasizingly booked SummerSlam with people from the IWC than I did most of the show. And if that doesn't speak volumes to you, that changes need to be made to the product immediately, I can't explain anything else to you. You need to figure it out for yourself then. Because obviously, you're not understanding a word that's coming out of my mouth. First off, why? Why in God's good name is Ty Dillinger losing to Aiden English? What are you going to do with Aiden English? You brought Aiden English up the week after WrestleMania 32, and you've done nothing with him. You completely buried him in 3 months after he came up to the main roster. 3 months. What have they done? Or what have the vaudevillains done that was of any importance? And then when Simon Gotch got released, what did Aiden English do that was of any importance? Nothing. Don't get me wrong, the guy's a decent wrestler. He could damn sure sing. He can put any professional opera singer to shame. But what are you going to do with him? Ty actually has substance. He was one of those lovable losers down in NXT, but then you bring him up from NXT and he's actually starting to rank up some wins, and then all of a sudden you're just going to cut off his momentum with a loss to a guy like Aiden English? I had no problem with him losing to Jinder Mahal, mainly because Jinder Mahal is the WWE champion and he needs to continue his momentous streak so that way when the right guy comes around to defeat Mahal, it would be a big deal. But Aiden English? How many championships has this guy won ever since he got up to the main roster? 3 months. 3 months. And already Ty is going back to his losing streak that he had on NXT. And what really gets under my skin is because Aiden English won with a full Nelson reverse STO slam. That was the same exact move that he used 2 months ago at Backlash, and Ty Dillinger kicked out of it. Ty Dillinger kicked out of that same exact move that English used on him back on May 21st in the Backlash pre-show in Chicago. What was stopping Ty from kicking out this time? What, did Aiden English add some extra impact on that? The little things like this, it makes no sense. It's completely illogical. It's like the same thing that happened with Dean Ambrose and The Miz. Dean Ambrose kicked out of the skull-crushing finale on the May 15th episode of Monday Night Raw in an Intercontinental title match with The Miz, but yet he couldn't do it at Extreme Rules? I get that you're trying to put finishers over, but if he kicked out of it once, he can kick out of it again. If anything, I would have had English beat Ty Dillinger with 2 full Nelson reverse STO slams. Would have made a little more sense. Rather than just 1, when Ty Dillinger kicked out of it 2 months ago. I mean, Ty Dillinger losing to Aiden English was a wrong decision in its own right, but to have him lose like in the way that he did, it just makes it even worse. Just makes it even worse. And then forget about Nakamura and Baron Corbin. WWE had Nakamura and Baron Corbin do the match that they should have done at BattleGround on SmackDown Live. What was stopping you from easily having Nakamura beat Baron Corbin at BattleGround and then Baron Corbin attacking Nakamura after the match? Which in turn could set up a rematch on SmackDown Live and Nakamura can completely brush off Corbin. It doesn't make any sense. The dots do not connect. The dots do not connect. You have Nakamura win by disqualification after Baron Corbin low-blowed Nakamura. And that was it. That was it. And then you have Baron Corbin come back out. End of days, Nakamura. Nakamura could have easily beat Baron Corbin. And then an end of days after the match at BattleGround. Would have made for a better storyline, and it would have made for an even better rematch on SmackDown. No, but they got to do disqualification and countout finishes on a pay-per-view. Disqualifications do not belong on pay-per-view, period. And then meanwhile, you got AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. These guys, without a doubt, are two of the most hardest working men on SmackDown Live. The two most hardest working men on SmackDown Live. And you have the match end in the way that it did. And here's what I don't understand. The fact of the matter is that the three matches that people were most invested in, mainly because of who was in those matches, I'm talking about Ty Dillinger, Shinsuke Nakamura, Baron Corbin, AJ Styles, and Kevin Owens, just because of who those five guys are, the five guys in which you should be building the empire that is SmackDown Live around, and you have three illogical, horrendous endings. Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. So AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, they have this match, and the match at Backlash was 1,000 times better, even if it did end via countout. Even if it did end via countout, the match at Backlash was 1,000 times better. But you have AJ get beeled into the ref by Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens with the sloppiest roll-up I have ever seen. The sloppiest roll-up I have ever seen. And AJ had 8 seconds, at least 8, to kick out. Never mind 3. He had 8 seconds to kick out, and he couldn't do it. I mean, it's bad enough that AJ Styles lost the United States title after only a 16-day reign, but you have him lose it in the way that he did? And don't get me wrong, I respect Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, without a doubt, is one of my favorites. He's one of my favorites. He's in my top 5. But Kevin Owens does not need another United States title reign, especially after what happened on SmackDown this week. It doesn't make any sense. What was the point? And then the other two highlights to my night were the tag team match and the fact that Sami Zayn won on pay-per-view. And again, nobody cared about that. And after those 3 match endings, after the Ty incident, the Nakamura-Corbin incident, and the AJ Owens incident, nobody cared about what happened the rest of the night. Nobody cared about the flag match. Nobody cared about Sami Zayn winning on pay-per-view. And nobody cared about the main event. Nobody. And I was there, and there was actually a delete chant going on in the middle of the main event, if you didn't hear. And I was trying my hardest to make a positive situation out of the entire incident, and I just could not do it. I couldn't do it. Because there was nothing positive about the situation to begin with. And this, I'm gonna put this out there. This is gonna be a shout out to Slice Wrestling. You already know. Follow him at Slice Wrestling. He reported that Vince McMahon actually changed the outcome to the AJ Owens match while the show was going on. 1 hour before AJ and Owens went on, Vince McMahon changed. He changed the outcome. And it showed. Because AJ, he remained in the ring after the match was over. He was arguing with the ref, and I know because I was there. And then on his way out, he kicked the ring step. And the displeasure was not just with us. AJ was displeased too. The man who you should be building your company around is completely displeased. And you treat him like that. You treat him like that. No wonder it took AJ so long to sign with WWE. And then on top of that, you listen to this. On top of that, now reports are saying that WWE has already begun souring on Mike Kanellis and his character following his loss to Sami Zayn. Pardon me, but who? As the New Day says, who booked Mike Kanellis to lose at BattleGround? Sure wasn't me. Sure wasn't the Philly crowd. Sure as hell wasn't Santa Claus. Sure as hell wasn't Nicki Minaj. Sure as hell wasn't David Schwimmer. Sure as hell wasn't Zach Galifianakis. You booked him to lose. You dug your own grave with Mike Kanellis, and now you got a lie in it. You gave Mike Kanellis this crappy Power of Love gimmick. He's not getting over with the crowd, whether he's a face or a heel, and it's your fault. Look yourself in the mirror and say you made a mistake. Yes, WWE can make mistakes. Though they may be the top of the mountain, nobody's perfect. And that's what WWE needs to get through their thick head. And let me tell you something. I am not even going to go over. I'm not even going to go over the weekly shows or the news, rumors, and reports. And you know, this week was actually a damn good wrestling week. Aside from BattleGround, the weekly shows and the week as a whole was a damn good wrestling week. And let me tell you, they were trying their hardest. They were trying their asses off. And I'm not just talking about SmackDown. I'm talking about all the weekly shows. I'm talking about Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and 205 Live. This entire week. And even the reports show it. They were trying their asses off this entire week to make you forget about BattleGround. With Raw, with the fact that Finn Balor and Elias Sampson had a good no DQ match, and Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor are going to begin a feud starting next week. The fact that Sasha Banks and Bayley had a great match on Raw. Might I add that the reason why Bayley won is because they are looking to rebuild up Bayley for the terrible 2017 that she has had, which I'm okay with, and it could very result in Sasha Banks turning heel on Bayley. And then meanwhile, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins defeated Miz and the Miztourage, and another shout out to Slice Wrestling. He reported that Ambrose and Rollins could very well be facing Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team titles at SummerSlam. I'm okay with that. And now you got Jason Jordan making his debut on Miz TV next week. He is reported to go into an Intercontinental title feud with The Miz. He could very well become Intercontinental Champion. We want new talent. That for once, WWE's making a right decision. Can you imagine that? And then on SmackDown, they went over. They went over the top to make you forget about BattleGround on SmackDown with Chris Jericho returning, AJ Styles winning the United States title back, a hard-hitting match between Shinsuke and Baron Corbin, and then they announced a rematch between AJ and Owens for the US title next week, and John Cena versus Shinsuke Nakamura. So basically, SmackDown was what BattleGround should have been, but wasn't. Surprise, surprise. And I believe Road Dogg also tweeted out, I got 2 words for you, and they ain't fire Road Dogg. Well, of course they're not fire Road Dogg, because that's 3 words. You might want to go back to kindergarten. Learn how to properly spell out a sentence. Or learn how to count your words. Ain't fire Road Dogg. Well, number one, certainly you aren't getting much love after that. And I'm not just talking about because you are dumb, because you can't realize that that's 3 words, but you're really not getting a lot of love from the real wrestling fan base as well. Now, on top of that, it was 205 Live in NXT. They had a decent tag team main event, and then NXT with Drew McIntyre cutting a promo, and the fact that Hideo Itami has turned full heel, and I'm assuming that he's going to have a rematch with Cassius Ohno at SummerSlam. And get this, before I sign off, before I end this video, I'm going to put this out there, and I was told, or actually I saw on Instagram, I believe it was, that Cage Side Seats reported that Roman Reigns is likely to win the Universal title at SummerSlam, but there's a catch. There's a catch. Now, before I get to the catch, I want to say this before I end this rant about BattleGround. Number one, I'm okay with Roman Reigns winning the Universal title at SummerSlam for two reasons. Number one, it's because it gets the title off of a part-timer, and we can see the title every week and on every single pay-per-view. And number two, the fact that if Roman Reigns wins the Universal title, if he holds it past the Rumble, he's not going to be in the Rumble, he won't win the Rumble, and he won't main event WrestleMania and defeat Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at WrestleMania. It basically saves the fan base in New Orleans from burning the Mercedes-Benz Superdome to the ground. But the catch is he is rumored to go into a main event program with Bray Wyatt for the Universal title. Again, WWE doing something right. Putting Bray Wyatt in the main event as he should be. They're trying to rebuild him for what happened earlier this year. He should have never gotten off of SmackDown Live to begin with. But I'm glad that he's getting back into the main event program. That's why he won his feud with Seth Rollins. He's going to win his feud with Finn Balor. And then come no mercy, he'll be in a Universal title program with Roman. I'm okay with that. Because it gets Bray Wyatt back into the main event where he should be. And I think I've gotten everything out of my system. I just needed to let that all out. I believe I've gotten everything out of my system for now. You guys already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at DDog316. Follow me on Twitter at #1 WWE fan. Go check out my BattleGround weekend. I posted that. You can check me out next week for the Lightning Flash update, in which I will get back to my normal show reviews and news, rumors, and reports section. I just needed to let this all out because I was extremely disappointed that I drove 2 hours to Philly just to sit through that piece of shit pay-per-view. A complete letdown. And let me tell you something. I was on a streak. I was on a good streak because that was my 6th event that I went to. The first 5 events that I went to, they were fantastic events from top to bottom. I was not bored throughout any of them. And I thought the streak was going to continue, mainly because it's Philly, and Philly is one of, if not the best type of cities to host a wrestling event. Boy, was I ever wrong. Boy, was I ever wrong. They were trying so hard to make you forget about BattleGround. I'm not there yet. Just like Ambrose and Rollins when Rollins went for the Shield fist gesture. I'm not there yet. It's gonna take a little bit longer for me to forgive you, WWE, after what happened at BattleGround. WWE, Jesus. Everybody's always so worried about second chances. Why don't you just get it right the first time, WWE? Anyway, that's it for now. That's it for now, you guys. You already know what to do. Do everything that I just stated before. For now, DJ Storms is out. Thank you once again for tuning into this video.